we are going to talk about the supplements you can take while you have endometriosis, something that helps you deal with those symptoms. Now, you already know I'm like the health man. You know, I love doing this. The supplements is my bread and butter. But the foods are the most important. I want you to understand that. The foods are the most important. The foods are the most important. All right? Now, supplements that can help. Number 1, curcumin. I know we talked about turmeric already. I know. But it's just some things that just work for many different things. Some supplements are just universal. Curcumin is excellent for dealing with endometriosis. Why? Because they found that it's directly related to inflammation. Endometriosis is directly related to inflammation. This is the one you cannot necessarily treat those cells outside the uterus. You can, they have surgery, but 50% of the time, they grow back. So you can get surgery on endometriosis. For endometriosis, they'll eliminate those cells and all that. They'll eliminate that fibrous material, but 50% of the time, they grow back. So 1 out of 2 who get the surgery, that surgery is going to fail them. Okay? But what they do know is that if you counteract the inflammation, you have much better results when it comes down to endometriosis. So curcumin is going to reduce the inflammation that's going to cause you the pain when you deal with endometriosis. Number 2, CBDs. CBDs, that's right. Come from your hemp, come from your marijuana plant. I actually know somebody right now who smokes weed only during their menses time because it makes a difference. It helps them tremendously with their endometriosis. And that's when I was like, wow, this girl she smokes, and she wasn't a smoker. She became a smoker because the endometriosis was she had to take off an average of 2 to 3 days a month. And her job knew, this was within her blessing, her job knew, because her endometriosis was unbearable. She could not go to work. She found that marijuana helped her out tremendously. And that's what she does. Well, CBDs, you don't have to get the high to get the benefits. CBDs will also reduce the inflammation. Okay? And we talked about that on the mental health podcast, right? When we talked about mental health, we talked about how beneficial CBDs are. Okay? There's a Chinese herbal tea called Unlock tea. Unlock tea is a very effective tea to help you reduce endometriosis symptoms, as well as this tea. I love this tea. As well as this tea helps deal with uterine cysts. Okay? So there's a tea out there called Unlock tea that's specifically designed to deal with the symptoms of endometriosis, as well as it helps deal with one of the causes of ovarian cysts, and that could be endometriosis. And we're supposed to do later, next week, is a whole podcast on ovarian cysts, what causes them and all them other things. Well, we found they know from studies that endometriosis can be one of the leading causes of ovarian cysts. Okay? So Unlock tea does both, helps with endometriosis and ovarian cysts. Omega-3 supplementation. You can do chia seeds. You can do hemp seed oil. You can do flaxseed oil with lignans, just a little bit. You can take your omega-3 capsules. You can do algae oil. You can take krill oil. You could do squid oil. Long as you get omega-3 supplementation in, it's going to help reduce the symptoms. And why is that? Because we cannot deal with the cells, but we can deal with the symptoms. And one of the symptoms is inflammation. And we can deal with that by focusing on reducing inflammation by giving you supplements that help act as an anti-inflammatory. Okay? That's a lot of word taste, messed up words, but I got back to the point. We want to give you supplementation that acts as natural anti-inflammatories. So curcumin is excellent for that. CBDs are excellent for that. The unlocking tea is not necessarily anti-inflammatory, but the formulation helps with deal with the endometriosis as well as the ovarian cysts. Omega-3 supplementation is really good. Pine bark extract. This is another good supplement that reduces inflammation, but it's been shown people who do pine bark extract get almost better results from pain reduction than they do your Tylenol and your NSAIDs, your non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. So pine bark extract, excellent for dealing with symptoms when they come down to endometriosis. Chamomile. That's right. Your tea, your sleepy time tea. Sleepy time tea. You know that's the celestial seasoning. They make chamomile. Chamomile is an excellent herb that you can drink. It's a great tea. It helps deal with the cramping that comes along with endometriosis. And they said it actually calms down the inflammation of the actual cells, the endometrial cells. So in a petri dish, they actually find that the extract of chamomile kills and destroys excessive endometrial cells. But that's only in a petri dish. It doesn't do the same thing in the body. But it calms down the inflammation in the endometrial cells. So drinking a cup of chamomile is very effective. Also, drinking a cup of chamomile reduces the cramping that comes along with endometriosis. Okay? So doing chamomile. Another good herb, peppermint. That's right. That peppermint candy that everyone likes. Well, the herb itself, the tea that we love to drink, peppermint is really, really good for helping to deal with the symptoms of endometriosis. It deals with the cramping just like chamomile. It helps deal with the bloating, all those things like that. So peppermint is really good. Vitex. V-I-T-E-X. Vitex is an herb better known as chasteberry or chasteberry. Very good for helping to balance the hormones. Remember, there's two things that make your endometriosis act up. A lot of estrogen, excessive amounts of estrogen, or estrogen just in general, because estrogen feeds it, and then inflammation. Okay? Vitex does not affect the inflammation. It affects the estrogen. It balances the hormones of the body. Vitex is really good for balancing the hormones of the body. If you balance the hormones of the body, guess what? You can calm down the rogue estrogens. Calming down the rogue estrogens will help you deal with endometriosis symptoms. Okay? Vitex. That's a great herb. NAC. NAC. This is a supplement called NAC, better known as N-acetylcysteine. Excellent antioxidant. Reduces inflammation. Also, NAC is really good for protecting your lungs. It's excellent for detoxing the liver. And NAC helps produce the baddest antioxidant in your body. It's called glutathione. So NAC helps you with your endometriosis symptoms because it reduces inflammation by creating the best antioxidant and anti-inflammatory you have in your body. It is called glutathione. So NAC. Okay? Probiotics. It's a weird combination. They found that probiotics, so it is also something with the gut when it comes down to dealing with endometriosis. People who have gut issues have usually worse symptoms when it comes down to endometriosis. Okay? They found this out. There's is a correlation there. Like, whoa, if you have gut issues and if you have irritable bowel syndrome, if you have Crohn's disease, your endometriosis is much worse. And they found that giving people a certain amount of lactobacillus bacteria, it reduces their symptoms of endometriosis because it helps heal the gut, that helps reduce inflammation overall in the body. So probiotics, even though it's not necessarily treating the endometriosis itself, it's treating the gut, but that treatment of the gut is keeping the inflammation down in the body. Okay? So it's not like it's a correlation there. It's not a causation, but it's like a correlation there, okay? Vitamin C and vitamin E combination, okay? They found taking 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C and about 1,000 milligrams of vitamin E is very, very effective, or 1,000 IUs of vitamin E is very, very effective for reducing the inflammation in the body, but also reducing the oh my God, I'm gonna too brain for it. What are we talking about? I'm sorry, endometriosis symptoms. I'm sorry. I'm just a little tired tonight. Endometriosis symptoms. So vitamin C and vitamin E is very good for dealing with that. Also, vitamin D does too. All right? And then is another supplement I looked up that may help. It helps with inflammation, but it also can break up the fibrous strands that happens that can make the organs stick together, the reproductive organs stick together, okay? There's a product out there called serrapeptase. There is an enzyme. This enzyme helps break down fibrogen. Well, when this blood is outside the uterus and is affecting the ovaries, you create this fibrous material. You create this fibrous, almost like adhesion that stick the ovaries to the uterus and all them other things like that. It makes the organs stick together. Well, serrapeptase naturally can break that down. So serrapeptase is really, really good. As well as serrapeptase acts as a natural blood thinner, as well as serrapeptase reduces overall inflammation in the body. Now serrapeptase is not meant to be used for long periods of time, or if you're on a blood thinner, you need to not take this, okay? But serrapeptase is an enzyme that's also very, very effective for reducing the overall symptoms when it comes down to dealing with endometriosis. So those are the products that you can use right now. But there's much more. But these are some of the products that they've shown to give you great results when it comes down to dealing with endometriosis.